I'll be unwrapping all my presents. Been a good boy this year.
Kids, don't you? Might still be in bed at that time.
This episode is sponsored by Twisted Running. At Twisted Running, they believe every runner deserves to feel seen. The brand started because they were tired of running gear that only spoke to the fastest, leanest, most elite athletes. Twisted is built for the middle of the pack, the early risers and the late night joggers, the comeback stories. This one who runs for their minds, not medals. With running apparel made for movement, which is technical, breathable and tough enough to handle whatever your run throws at you. But more than just kit, Twisted is a mindset, community over competition. We celebrate every effort, every journey, every mile, no matter the pace. Use LRP 10 for 10% off. Now on to the interview of the episode. We have a Bramhall Runner. She's been smashing PBs over the last couple of years, setting PBs 5k, 18:26, 10k, 37:42, half marathon 81:09 and marathon 2:57:14. Please welcome Sara Barron. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Okay, so we've got a bit of a discussion point to start off with. So, what do we think of the predicted times on Garmin, Strava, Coros, etc.? So I'll kick off. I have predicted times, I guess, on my Garmin. I don't pay for Strava, so I don't get those. I know you can get different times using the, if you pay, don't you? But for me, I don't often look at it, but I've just looked at it now and mine are way out, so I don't know where they come from. It reckons I could run a marathon in 3:05, 5k in 18:18, half in 1:25, which again, I don't know where they get any of these from because I've raced a marathon recently in 3:19, so that's way off. Raced a half last weekend, 1:29, which saying I can do 1:25. So they're all times that I've never come close to. So I don't know why it thinks I can run them. So.
It's telling you to pull your finger out.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe it is, Dave. Must try harder.
I'm glad you said it.
So yeah, I guess it'd be interesting to see if anyone else's are closer. What about yours, Sara? Yours close?
Well, certainly not the shorter distances because a 17:04 does not feel like it would ever be within my reach. Having only knocked off about 5 seconds in about 5 years on my 5k, I don't imagine that's achievable. On the other end, 2:52.56 for a marathon would be very nice, and it does feel like a reach, but it also doesn't feel like a million miles off, something I could do if I was at my fittest and conditions were great.
Yeah.
So the others, I've got 10k at 36:30, so I think that's about a minute off, which doesn't feel very realistic at the moment. And a 1:19 half, which I think is a stretch goal for if I was absolutely at my peak.
Yeah. So not too far off yours though.
Not a million miles.
More realistic.
Except the 5k.
Than mine. But that might reflect that your marathon training at the minute.
I think so.
So maybe it's your longer distances are more
being
accurate.
picked up.
Yeah.
I found that when I was training for the 5Ks earlier this year, that was getting really close to my goal time anyway. So I was going for sub 17 and it was hovering around like 16:55. I didn't get it, but it was hovering around there and thereabouts. And then I found that after, what it says there, after about August, it then started to get slower and slower. Now it's saying about 17:30, which might be there or thereabouts how I feel, but I think like current for me is 37:06 for a 10k, 1:21.29 for a half, and 2:55 for the marathon.
That's interesting how similar some of our times are, but also really far away some of them are.
Yeah. But again, like I think with you being in marathon training, it's probably picking up a big block of all of yours and then pulling everything down with it. No doubt it goes off heart rate and it's got to go off age and your paces and volume as well. What about yours, Shaw?
Mine's giving me a right pasting. So I'll stick to the marathon because that's what I'm training for. So Garmin is saying I'm going to run a 2:47.54. 2:47.54.
Would that be a retirement marathon if you ran it?
I'd like that.
10 minutes off.
10 minutes is massive, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, that
That's
is.
enormous.
It's huge.
But you've not run a marathon in ages.
But this
And
is So let me get to... so Strava's being slightly more generous and saying 2:43:03. Sorry, 2:42. The others are not that far off, but I'm not really looking at those anyway.
No, because you're marathon training.
Yeah. So I looked at a video on YouTube about this in terms of how they both work. So Strava, what it does, it compares what you're doing against all the other Strava users out there. Has a look what they end up with, and then it predicts your time based on that. So it's looking at not just your training, but what everyone's doing.
And where you're training as well, it takes stuff off.
Whereas Garmin is looking just specifically at what you're doing and using an algorithm to try and work out what your potential time is. So they both work quite different. There's other ones as well, like Kaizen. There's a Kaizen app, and if you download it, you can get a little free trial just to give you some times, and then you don't have to continue it. I did that, and that was even worse. So maybe
sub 4 hours.
We shall find out in a few weeks. But this could all be smoke and mirrors, and it might be very accurate. But I'll be disappointed. I won't be too disappointed with that Strava time, given the year I've had. To be honest, at 2:42, that's okay. But yeah, 2:47. I mean, come on, Garmin.
5 minutes difference is quite a lot.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
It's nearly. When I did my run at weekend, I thought, Garmin's going to like this. It's going to give me a better time. Didn't move an inch. Didn't even look. I don't even think it looked.
It says maintaining as your training status.
Yeah. But look at the difference it can have when my time's faster than what I think I'm capable of. It's brought me up, and your time's slower than what you know you're capable of, and it brings you down. Which is why I tend to ignore it all.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to you, Dave, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've just looked at mine, and there's such a disconnect between the times my Garmin and my Strava apps are telling me I can run at the moment. So, if I was to run a marathon at the moment, it tells me I've run 3 hours 4 minutes and 39 seconds. A 10k 37:34. Well, I ran.
You've paced that.
4 minutes faster than that a month ago, and a 17:49 5k. But there's such a huge difference between that and the times that Strava's telling me I could run at the moment. So it's telling me I could run a 15:51 5k as opposed to a 17:49.
Yeah, big difference.
It's a 2 minute difference.
Yeah, then a 5k. That's
and it tells me at the moment I could run a 10k in 32:50 as opposed to 37:34. So huge difference. I have found, because I've not really paid that much attention to the Strava times until recently, but I have paid attention to the Garmin times because they're a bit easy. I found they were a bit easier to find before this Strava thing came about, and I always thought the Garmin times seemed quite a way out, because even when you ran a race, it would tell you that your predicted race time was quite a bit different to what you just run.
You've actually done.
So it would I'm thinking, hang on, you're telling me I can run a 17-minute 5k. I've just run a 16.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think what I was looking for from this conversation was some confidence that these are wrong.
Well, my conclusion is...
Can we conclude?
Garmin is talking out of its backside.
Yeah.
And Strava's a little bit closer to the truth. So yeah, just going back to mine.
Yeah.
What I did notice with mine, so as you know, I had quite a few injuries at the start of the year. Started seeing some progress. Started doing some park runs in the summer. But the graph that I'm looking at for 5k does seem to tally with the progress I was making. So it tells me that in the middle of June I was in shape to run a 16:42 5k. I think at that point I'd come back to Parkrun and I was running about a low 17. And then come start of September, when I started racing again, I did my first 5k, which was a 16:27. It says I was in shape to 16:04. So it probably wasn't too far off the mark, and then by the time we got into the start of October, it's telling me I could run 15:50. Well, that was a week after I ran that 33:47. So
what you can do as well on Garmin is if you click on your watch on your predicted times, it tells you miss it. Like for mine's obviously telling me I'm not where I think I am, and it's telling me I've got an anaerobic shortage. Right. Which is true because I'm doing
this is what I was wondering. I mean,
threshold stuff.
With this data, if it was to be accurate, surely the most useful thing to somebody who wasn't coached would be, how do I get this time down?
Yeah.
But you've got to delve into it a bit more.
My worry with these predicted times that Garmin and Strava are throwing out, if they are far off the mark, you know, and people who are not particularly experienced, would they then use that to pace their races? So, you know, it's telling you can run a 250 marathon, but in reality you're in shape to run a 3 hour 5 marathon.
It's a big
go off at
difference,
250 pace.
Exactly, yeah.
Could really come into trouble if you took that.
You've got to take them with a pinch of salt.
I think you have,
Everything on your watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know,
I was going to say, because it gives you other information, like your fitness age. Does it, like that comes up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like that one because it always tells you you're
young.
young.
To Sean's point about doing a run and you know, he's hoping to see the graph moved. When I was getting back into racing and parkruns over the summer, I'll turn my phone around so you can see it. You can see that trend going upwards, and it is quite nice to see that. Whether you think the actual times are a load of nonsense. I think it can sense when your fitness is trending upwards, because you can see it in that graph there, and it did tally with what was happening with me at the time.
Strava's good to navigate as well. I've just been through that then, and you can actually click on it and it'll tell you what the time was that was predicted at that particular time.
So you can do a 6 month view, a 3 month view, a 1 month view, or just today, which gives you the today's numbers.
That's if you've got the subscription.
You do need the subscription to view that, but it is a really handy tool.
And some people don't know this, but you can pay £100 for 4 people on a Strava subscription, so it's £25 each. And you get all that, and you get routes, and you can create routes. So
Strava, get in touch if you want to sponsor an episode.
That's it. Right, anyway, I suppose we could discuss it all night, but
we could
take it with a pinch of salt, I think. And
I'm glad you say that.
You suck your Guinness.
Back to Sara. So tell us, how did you get into running?
I did a bit of running at high school. Not really very seriously though. In fact, I didn't really take sports very seriously at all when I was younger. My main thing was dancing, and it was a hobby, but it wasn't a passion, and I wasn't very obsessive about anything like I am with running now. I found that running came a little bit more easier to me than other things, like the team sports. So I did go along the cross-country route a little bit, which will surprise my Bramhall runners who know I hate cross-country, and I did go into 1500 metres in the summer, but it was all very light-hearted. I didn't train. I certainly never went to a track. It was just a bit of fun, and it was probably because I was marginally faster than the next average 1500 metre runner at that time.
Okay, so you say you started running seriously after having your second baby, but you said then that your parkrun intentions, is that right? Were not positive. So can you describe how your mindset changed and how the running community at Parkrun started to win you over?
So I think I did my first parkrun in 2013. I would have had my first baby at that point, but predominantly I would have been planning for my wedding. So I think I was running for weight loss more than anything. And it didn't really come into my mind that this is a valuable tool for my mind, that this was providing headspace. I think I knew that it was providing endorphins and that I felt good after a run, but I don't think I went to Parkrun thinking this will make me feel better. And that wasn't a very positive outlook on exercise at all, really. It was used more as a punishment than as something that was a lot more positive. However, what it did then provide was, okay, this thing happens at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. If I'm consistent with this, I can get a little bit better at it. Although I didn't have a watch or didn't do anything with it back then. It was very light-hearted. But then I did realise, actually, if you keep turning up to something, it does make you feel better. And I think just seeing the volunteers and knowing that these people are here just so that we can run, how lovely is that? Yeah. It then started to provide that mental release and the headspace that I didn't know that I wanted from it, that then became my real love of running and a passion that grew over time. Did have another break, had another baby, came back into it in probably 2017, just as my youngest started toddling, no doubt, at that point, and getting about a bit and probably needing more headspace than ever at that time. Yeah. And I think a group of friends had suggested to me doing a half marathon, and I thought, why not? It's a challenge, it feels like it's something I could do, I'll give it a go. But it really was very much not about time. just getting outdoors, just having a bit of headspace. And again, I enjoyed that element of running with other people.
Okay, fab. So Parkrun was your main kind of running though at that time, and you did the half. How did the half marathon go?
It was the Great Manchester Run, which still holds a really strong place in my heart. I love that race. I love coming down Deansgate. I think it was around 1:45, so it was it was a fairly decent run. But I didn't know that at the time. I honestly don't know if I had a watch at that point. Yeah. And it was just a case of just go and do something, be brave, step out your comfort zone, do something that you really did think was impossible at one point.
Yeah. And you touched on your mental health then. So you said that in 2019 your running kind of hit a major turning point when your mental health hit rock bottom, as you said. So how did running become your kind of saviour at that point and give your, as you described it, your anxiety-ridden brain headspace it needed?
Yeah, I really found out that I had quite bad anxiety in 2019 and had never really addressed that part of my life prior to that. And in 2017, having discovered running, I was like, this is great. It is providing headspace. But then it just became another thing to do, another thing to strive at, and another thing to perform well in. Yeah. And I am a little bit of a perfectionist. I am obsessive, and I do take everything probably to an extreme. So at that point, 2 years into running, I'd done my first marathon, I'd done my second marathon. I was like, what's next? Oh, let's get really good at running. Let's be a craft mum. Let's be, I was just trying to do it all, and it was never going to happen. And I did burn out. It was December, I had 2 kids in primary school. You know what the events are like. And I was being pulled left, right and centre. But instead of using running as a release up until that point, I was just using it as another thing, another punishment, another tool. Get quicker, get faster, perform more. And then I stopped running for a short period and I thought, I'm missing it. What am I missing about it? And it did take some real reflection and some deeper analysis of what gives me joy and what's taking that enjoyment away from it. And I thought, I'm just trying to do too much, so I stripped everything back. I said, just run 2 or 3 times a week. You don't need a watch, you don't need to strive for a time, you don't even need to book a race. Yeah. You can just run.
Imagine.
Yeah, imagine doing that now. So December of 2019, there was run up to Christmas, which I think still goes on. I think it's still happening, and I just used that as a little bit of something to keep me focused. I thought if nothing else, if I run 50 miles this month, that's okay, that's fine, that's a nice thing to do. I probably had become quite mileage obsessed by that point because I'd done 2 marathons, and that was just come on, this is just something little for me. Just get out, just get some headspace, and that's when I really found that it could provide so much more than fitness. It could provide a lot of headspace. Yeah.
And do you still kind of hold on to that learning from back in the day now? Do you kind of use running for your
100%
mental health and headspace and stuff still? Yeah.
I mean, it's a running joke in our household that the kids and my husband will say to me, just go for a run. Yeah. just get out of the house, just go for a run. And I think it's something that we all have in our household. We're all quite sporty and active, and we all really do enjoy getting out and getting into the fresh air. And sometimes it is a hard workout, and sometimes it is just 30 minutes around the block with no watch. Just go and enjoy it.
Okay, and then you joined Bramhall Runners in 2020, and you said that was a game changer. So what is it about the club environment and the people that you met there that made you feel kind of, good about running, and what difference did that make in your life?
I think I've been so fortunate to have found Bramhall Runners, because it really is a club that I see myself fitting into. Yeah. Bearing in mind that I didn't come from a running background at all, nobody in my family runs. I didn't even really know what a club was. I remember somebody saying something to me about a year or so in about a club record, and I was like, oh, that's nice, what's a club record? I had no idea, I didn't really know what was going on. I just found that it was so nice to find a group of people that shared something, the same things, the headspace, the performance. There were so many elements to it. Oh, let's meet up at Parkrun. Let's do this race. Let's have the crazy race euphoria where we're all a bit giddy together. It was just really enriching to have an experience like that. And I think I've learned so much from becoming a club runner. And I would always recommend people join a club. But it does involve just, again, another step outside of your comfort zone, doesn't it? And I think running's amazing at that. You can go from 5k feels impossible, then 10k feels impossible, then a half, and then if you manage to get to a marathon, they all feel impossible at all different times, and you do need to be brave. And I think taking that step into Bramhall Runners was me being really brave at that time, because I didn't know anybody at all from the club. I just thought I'll just go along, just go once, and then found some of my best friends there.
So you still attend Bramhall Runners now, even when your training stepped up a bit. As you said, you're more competitive now, and I guess you have your own kind of plans and things to do. Do you still attend the sessions there at Bramhall?
I do go to the track sessions as much as I can. I don't always do especially in the dark. Yeah. I'm not so keen on doing the street sessions. And that's not because I don't like the sessions, it doesn't always fit in with my race plan. Yeah. Whereas a track session provides something that I can't really provide for myself. Yeah. And without a doubt, I will get pulled along at the club. Yeah. So that's a nice
Can I just ask, where do Bramhall Runners do their track sessions? I don't think there's a track anywhere near Bramhall.
There is not. We have to go to Mac.
You go to Macclesfield. Right. I thought it'd be Macclesfield or Stockport. Yeah. One or the other,
Yeah, so it is a bit of a drive out. So it is a commitment.
Yeah. Do you get a good turnout for those sessions?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we really do. It's really good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's really nice. And it's been a really nice addition. I think it was missing. So we haven't been doing it for a very long time, but it's been, and we only do it every 2 weeks as well, which actually is a really nice thing to fit into a marathon plan when you're trying to do some lactate threshold stuff and some VO2. You're trying to do it all of the different types of workouts, but every 2 weeks I'm like, okay, well I can go and do a hard track session. I can make that fit in with the rest of my plan over a 2 week period.
Yeah, so if someone was interested, how would they get involved in Bramhall Runners?
Contact Julie. Julie Fairclough and Steve, and they will be very welcoming. I think everybody says this about their club, but I really do believe we are very, very inclusive. We have runners of all abilities, all ages, and they're just so friendly, really lovely, the nicest people I've ever met, really.
So is there a website, or are they on social media?
We are on socials,
Right, okay, fab. Okay, and you mentioned Bramhall Runners Glory Days. Tell us a bit about that.
I think the Glory Days I refer to is the 2021 summer race season. I guess that comes from the lockdown period where we were all training in tiny groups, and then races opened again. And I remember the first set of races that we all went back to was the Sizzlers. It was the hottest summer. We were all absolutely boiling. None of us particularly liked the 5k, but we were all there. It felt like the whole club. Of course it wasn't the whole club, but there was such a good turnout for those races. And we kind of joke amongst our circle of friends it was the glory days because none of us were injured then. And now it seems that there's always one of us that's injured at this point. But it was just that post-race euphoria when you're just feeling a bit giddy. I think we were just so happy, like, to be let out the house, to be racing again, to have people around us, and to celebrate with each other. They are so supportive, all of the club, all of the ages. It was just a really nice time to be involved in racing again.
That's nice. I think that's a nice thing about club support, isn't it? Like, so when you go to a race or something, you always feel really supported when you see your club vest.
Yeah, it's that sense of belonging.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think you can really get that from anything else as an adult. Yeah. It's quite difficult to get that, but it is just that ownership and having agency, and then, like we just see all people in green, and then you just feel like you're part of something.
I know you've said you don't like cross country, but when I've been at the Manchester Leagues, I've noticed it's quite visible how supportive Bramhall Runners are. I don't know if you've seen the same, Kate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really feel like
see
that.
The green, Why do you not like cross country? We don't get that, do we, Dave?
I know my limits.
I can answer that for you if you want.
Yeah. I think I know my limits in that I know that you have Raynaud's as well, so this is not the only excuse, but it makes me miserable. I hate being that cold for that long. And if I'm going to try my best. Then you're going to get cold for ages afterwards. Yeah. And if I want to support, if the men support the women, then the women should support the men. And it's all about that. Yeah. And so it's never just a half an hour race. It's 5 or 6 hours outside. Yeah. And I have 2 boys that do gymnastics and basketball, so our Saturdays are chaos already. So it's not actually a dislike for cross country, although I'm not very good at it because of the terrain. It's just not my strength. It's the whole day.
Everything,
really.
Yeah, it is a big commitment, isn't it? I think with it starting later on, I think if you've got children, a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
We'll let you off.
Maybe I'll get back into it. Yeah.
And just going back to Parkrun, your Power of 10 shows that you've got 142 parkruns, mostly at Bramhall. So is Bramhall still your favourite parkrun, or do you have any other courses that you like to do?
Bramhall feels like home for me. So whenever I go to Bramhall, I know I will see somebody I know, which is lovely. I would always prefer to plod a parkrun than to race it. That's just my preference. Every now and again, I'll give it a go. The wonderful thing about Bramhall is it's really hard. It's not an easy course.
You guys done it?
I've done it a few times. What a lot of people don't know is Bramhall was the first parkrun in the north of England.
Was it?
It was. It was the 5th parkrun.
Yeah,
set up.
Wow, really? So it's really old then.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. And really well attended. And we've got the most lovely set of marshals, really regulars. You know, you will see the same people doing the same things each week, which I absolutely love. So yeah, Bramhall I do love. And it is also my nemesis because it never, ever feels easy. Even when I'm at the peak of my fitness, I find that course really hard. And this is also a bit of a running joke with my club, but I will get lost absolutely anywhere. And I've probably done 100 of those 142 at Bramhall. And I still couldn't run the 5K course on my own.
I've gone the wrong way there before.
Yeah.
I've never done it. It's what I'll have to do. But I think that is the thing with parkrun. Like Hyde's my local parkrun, and even if I run it easy, it's never easy, is it? They just
Hyde's
don't
harder
feel-
than Bramhall.
Is it?
Yeah.
They just don't feel
Bramhall
easy.
is tough though because you start up a hill
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's got 3 hills as well at the moment because we're on a different course.
Yeah. I think running's just not easy, is it? Even if you say
No.
you're gonna go easy.
It isn't. But I do like the fact that you can just turn up to somewhere, so that'll be Hyde for you or Bramhall for me. And I know that there'll be somebody I can have a chat with at the start or during or at the end.
If you wanted to do like a faster parkrun, would you go somewhere else? Or if you wanted to do a bit of a session, would you use a different parkrun?
Alex every day. I love Alexander Parkrun. I love that it's got wide paths. It's normally got fast field as well, so that helps if you're kind of my pace. I want to be pulled along a bit as well, and I love that it's flat.
Good answer. Okie dokies, Brill. Well, that's all my questions, so I'll hand over to Sean.
Oh, thanks, Katie. So in 2021, you self-coached yourself to a championship level sub 3:13 marathon. So, which is obviously impressive. So self-coaching yourself in that way, what do you think was the sort of most valuable lesson you took about yourself, and then also about the training of self-coaching yourself to that level?
I think going from probably 3:30 to 3:13 felt like a huge jump for me at that point, and I realised I could do that in a relatively short period of time. I mean, I don't see PBs like that these days, of course, but I realised that you can change something quite small, but you can see really, really massive benefits from it. So at the time it was mileage, but I realised that has a ceiling now. So that is something that I think I can attribute that success to, but I don't attribute my success these days to my higher mileage because there's only so far you can go with mileage, isn't there, when you work full time and you've got 2 kids, etc. But I guess for me then it was my mindset and my mentality, because I felt like it could be a limiter. If you tell yourself it's going to be hard, I'm going to get injured, it's going to be hard and you could get injured. I mean, you could get injured at any point. But if you reframe those thoughts in training and pre-race, especially in the 2 weeks before the race, when your mind will absolutely go wild and it will play tricks on you.
About now, then.
Yeah, right about now. Then it can take over and it becomes really boring and it becomes really hard work. But if you can train your brain like you can train every other element of your fitness, that can pay you back in your performance, but it can also pay you back in your training. So I think for me, mindset was the biggest game changer there.
Yeah, you got to have a pretty strong mindset to do a self-coaching method like that as well, and you set out a plan and have the accountability to stick to it.
And to be able to do sessions on your own is not And a lot of people say they can't do it. I'm really happy to go out and do a session by myself. I have no problems doing that. We see each other on the Middlewood Way quite a lot, don't we?
Yeah. I can do it. I don't relish it. I'd rather be in a group, but you surprise yourself sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
You just end up getting it done.
Yeah.
Did you get any support, sorry, just to interrupt, with that kind of mindset kind of shift? Like, you know, because we've talked about it before, haven't we? It's quite normal for people to get overwhelmed and that pre-race anxiety.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were able to challenge those thoughts and develop a new kind of way of thinking and stronger mindset.
Not through a sports psychologist perspective, but I did read a lot around it, and I do believe, I mean, I teach professional development and I teach mindset stuff. And one thing that I came across was this idea of a growth mindset and how that can really impact the way that you think, but also accepting failure, although that's not a word that's really common in growth mindset, but accepting there will be setbacks, accepting that there will be parts of your running that won't go well and that you will have really bad sessions and you can have a really bad week. You can even have a really bad mile in a marathon, but the performance can still be good, whatever you deem as good, whether that's a faster time or an enjoyable race. You can come back from it. You can come back from a bad session. You can come back from an injury. You can come back from many things, as long as you're willing to accept that this is the sport, this is part of it.
So you think it was your kind of professional background that helped you with that switch in mindset?
I think it was my determination to not be beaten by anything. And because of that, I realised that that was a limiting factor and I had to challenge it and I had to do something about it, because if it wasn't my fitness, if my fitness was peaking, then what was stopping me? And I realised that if you can train your brain, and you can train anything, can't you? You can get better at anything. If you believe it, you don't have to be, you know, something I say to my students, you don't have to be the most intelligent person in the room to get a first at university. You don't have to be the most naturally gifted runner, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people disagree with this, to get much better at running, to perform really well, to improve over a period of time. It won't happen overnight, but you can practice and practice and practice something and get much better at it.
Yeah. Sticking with 2021, there's a 5k in 2021, which is, we know is something that is one of your running highlights. But why does the shorter distance stand out so strongly against your marathon achievements that year?
That's the Bramhall Runner's glory days, by the way. That is the 5k Sizzlers, the 2021, which you don't even get a medal for, do you, the Sizzlers?
No, I like that old school.
I know. So do I. Again, it was my first taste of it as well. I didn't know. Everyone was talking about these Sizzlers and how horrible they are. But what they meant is how hard and great they were, really, at the same time. The reason that particular race series stands out in my mind is, for maybe 2 years, I'd said, I'd love to do a sub 25k. And it was just like that. It was just something I said one day, but then I clung on to it. And I realised after that race where it finally happened, and bearing in mind it didn't happen quickly, I did many attempts, many solo attempts as well, because we were in lockdown at that period, so it wasn't always, I didn't always have the opportunity to really go at it. But there were so many times where I failed, but I just kept going back. I was so determined. I was like, I'm not having this. This can be done. And I really believed it could be done. I just needed the stars to align. And when it finally did align, I was like, wow, I can do anything. Which sounds crazy, but to be so determined at one thing and for it to finally happen and believe, wow, I really thought that was impossible and it's become possible. That just opened my mind to everything is possible then. If I can do this, if I can work really hard at this one thing, if I can invest something in it and it pays me back, what else can I do?
I mean, if you can do like 5k time trials on your own in lockdown, that's character building. So
Oh god, yeah.
I think
we know people who did marathon time trials in lockdown
on Outram Road, 43 laps.
Oh wow.
There were some unbelievable things going on that year. I even bought a treadmill that year. Put it in the kitchen. So you've put some of your success as well down to taking a lot of time to read a lot about sports science. So do you think doing that has helped you sort of learn a lot about running, and what do you think the single biggest piece of information you've taken from that has been that's helped impact your performance?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you can learn lots and you don't always necessarily
application,
apply that learning. And obviously a lot of that goes out the window the minute you cross the start line in a race. But I realised again that mileage was one thing, it's a contributing factor, but you do have to factor in every other part of your life. And so I realised that I got a sub-3 marathon through increasing my miles, but I realised I probably wasn't going to be able to increase them that many more. And I suddenly thought, does that mean I won't improve my marathon ever again? And I felt quite sad about that. And I thought, but I feel like I've got more in me, so what's the thing that can make a difference? And so I started to read a bit more about different types of workouts, lactate threshold versus VO2, which I still get a little bit confused about, but I do realise now there is a big difference. And I moved probably towards a coaching model because of that, because I wanted to understand that a little bit more. But the things I'd read over the couple of years that I was self-coaching myself to improve in the marathon really paid me back, and it really just gave me an understanding of the sport and the different things that you can do to help with your performance.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think if you understand why you're doing things,
yes, purpose
makes a big
purpose
difference.
Is really important.
Yeah.
If somebody tells me do this and it'll improve your lactate threshold, even if I don't know what a lactate threshold is, I will do it because I hear improve and I think, okay, I'll do it then.
Yeah. And since then you've run sub-3 now at London, and you've also gone on from that to lower your PB to 2:57. Was that at Chester?
Yeah.
That's not a flat course, is it?
No.
But you ran sub-3 in Boston as well, didn't you?
Just 2:59.54.
Well, I've said before.
Wow. Like, come on.
I think that's
know.
perfect. I've said that before on this podcast, and I love it when people just
you do,
go.
don't
I think you just nailed it.
What was even better is, truthfully, I didn't think I'd done it, and I crossed the finish line, and there was a group of really lovely American ladies all around me. We were all kind of, high and deflated, and everything that you are at the end of a marathon. And my phone wasn't working and everything. I was just like, what's going on? But I was just walk, because like every marathon, you just have to keep walking, don't you? Everyone tells you just keep walking. Like, did I do it or not? And this message popped up from my husband, and it said, I texted him first and said, I didn't do it, did I? And he replied and said, yes, you did, 2:59.54. And I just went, I broke down in tears then, because I was like, wow, I really wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And there is a real reason that I wasn't expecting it, because somehow pre-race I'd done something to my watch screen. I don't know what. So instead of seeing my lap pace per mile, I was seeing my average pace. And that stayed stagnant for ages. But what had actually happened is, Boston being a 5k downhill at first, I'd set off too quick. And then every time I was looking at it, between 10 and 16 miles, it was hovering about where it should be.
Yeah.
Which was quicker than a sub-3, and I just stayed there for ages, and I just hovered there, and actually my lap pace was getting much slower, but because I'd set off faster, it was just showing my average pace at about right. And obviously it did work out eventually, but I had to put some shift in mile 25 to get across the line.
Pull the average down.
Yeah.
The GPS normally does come up long in a marathon.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So that's why I really, really didn't think I'd done it.
Yeah, and that was it's definitely a course with a tougher second half, isn't it?
It broke me.
Although the first half, people who've run it say that it's the first half that beats you up because of the constant
downs.
down. Yeah.
Honestly, that there is no flat part of that race. In my memory, I don't remember any flat miles. Of course, there are flat miles, but there are a lot of ups and downs. Everybody talks about the 4 hills between 16 and 20, and they are brutal, especially Heartbreak Hill being the 4th. So cumulative fatigue at that point has really set in. But actually, you've had a load of ups and downs and it doesn't finish at mile 20 either. It goes on with some more ups and downs. Mile 25, nice and flat.
That's the one where you needed to put in the
Yeah, that's where I was like, okay, let's go.
I think I was supposed to be asking you about Chester, so let me finish that question. So you had when you were running the Chester, the 2:57, you had these numbers going through your mind, 6:26 and 6:50. How do they represent the achievement of that sub-3?
the 6:26 is sub 25k pace, I think.
Yeah.
And because that was ingrained in my memory for so long, 6:26, I can do 6:26. And then that new obsession became 6:50 because that was my sub 3 pace. And then I suddenly realised I'm not bound to these numbers. And it was really hard shifting from, you can run a marathon faster than 2:50, even though it felt like a stretch goal. But I was so stuck to these numbers for such a long time. And in Chester, because I knew the course, I'd actually run it twice before, I knew that there were ups and downs back then when I thought that was a hilly marathon compared to Boston. So I knew there'd be ups and downs. So I just said, just forget 6:50 minute mile pace and just run to feel, which I know a lot of people say they run to feel, but they're looking at the watch every 5 minutes. That's not running to feel. And then, because what I can do is I can get so obsessed with a number that I'll run slower because I'm so adamant I need to be within that bracket. And for me, it would be 6:49, 6:51. Like I wouldn't deviate much further from that because I'm scared of the distance in a marathon. Whereas with Chester, I just went, just forget the numbers, just move away from them and just run and see how you fare on the downhills. And if you're a bit slower on the uphills, then that's okay. Yeah. And I just went for it. And yeah, it was a really, really good race for me. I really enjoyed it.
So did you do that? Did you not look at your watch? Really?
I can't say I didn't look at it entirely, but what I didn't do is obsess about 6:50 minute miles because I knew some of the miles would be slower because of the hills. And I then allowed myself to roll with the faster miles. So if there were a few faster miles, not in a silly way at the beginning, which is easily done, but I knew that there would be times where I could come away from that and still do okay.
Yeah. You won't have that problem in Valencia. You'll be on the money in Valencia for the entire race because the only downhill is at the finish line.
Is it really?
Yeah. As it comes off the road into the finish, it looks like. And I think the only uphill is at the start where you head over the bridge.
Yeah, it's deemed to be one of the flattest and best, isn't it?
Really popular, isn't it?
Super popular, yeah.
So you did all that sort of self-coach, and after relying on coaching yourself for that long and reading about the sports science, you were hoping to uncover some blind spots in your training by hiring coaches Holly and Pete at the start of 2025. So tell us a bit about that.
I realised again that there was only so much I could do, and
this is Holly Rush.
Holly Rush, Holly Stables and Pete Stables. I felt like there must be blind spots. I'm not an expert, I'm not professional, I haven't really got any running qualifications. Everything that I'd done was self-taught, self-read, and although I'd seen improvement and I was happy with that, I knew that I would be doing something wrong. I couldn't not be because I wasn't professionally trained. And looking at Holly's background, I thought there's a lot I can learn here. And that really is something that I hold really close to my heart, that there's always something to learn, no matter where you're at in your game or how well you've performed in your own opinion. There's always something to learn. There's always something new to try. And I was willing to try a new approach for Boston because I am not a good hill runner, and I knew if I wanted to succeed in Boston that I needed to have some more knowledge, and I thought Holly and Pete would be a good combination, given that I needed a bit more focus on my strength and conditioning, which is what Pete provides for me, and Holly does the run coaching.
Right, nice. And are you with them now into Valencia?
I am, so we've had nearly a full year together.
Yeah. And you mentioned this a little bit before, but we do get asked a lot about balance and discipline, for example, like training versus lifestyle with work and everything else. So for our listeners, what is that fine line between helpful stress and destructive overstress from performance and life? So how do you sort of manage that balance between the two?
Okay, I'll start by answering the discipline question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Discipline is by far the hardest thing, more so than motivation or consistency. Discipline means saying no to things. I think when you get to whatever your peak is, which I'm probably very close to at this point, you need to be able to say no to things. For example, this weekend, my kids were doing the Alton Towers run, and I had a 7-mile run on my plan. So in theory, I could have done the Alton Towers 10K, but if I'd have put myself in a race condition, I would have raced it because I wouldn't have been able to hold myself back. So the discipline there was, you do get up early and you do a treadmill run, because then you won't do that 10K no matter what. And it's also like saying no to doing a faster park run before a Sunday session. My Sunday session has to be the most, when you're marathon training, for me, I run on a Sunday. It doesn't have to be a Sunday, of course.
Well, religiously it does.
I mean, it should be a Sunday. But my Sunday long run has to be the most important session in the week. And if I don't prioritise that run, I can't expect it to go well.
Yeah.
In terms of work-life balance, everything's a balancing act, isn't it? Every single thing. And that stress over stress, I think, also comes from my perspective of training, that you can perform and train and overtrain, and you do really need to. But at this point, I'm making 1% gains. I'm never going to knock minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes off of my time. It's going to be small, incremental, and I'll take any seconds now. Any seconds that I knock off is great, but you have to be able to balance everything. You can't expect A race performances unless you have A race sleep, and you make your nutrition your focus and your goal. And that is really hard, because it's hard enough trying to work out your nutrition and get all of that right. And it's hard enough getting a full night's sleep, especially my age. I mean, I'm in that period where sleep doesn't come very easily to me. And so for all of those stars to align, you've really got to make sure that you're working really hard at all of it.
Yeah. Interesting. It just made me think of my recent injury. And that was self-inflicted, as all my injuries are. And reason being, I had a meeting in Birmingham for work, but I also had an hour's run to do. So I got up super early, got down after a session the night before, a running session, not a... and then... and I know we've got a treadmill at the office in Birmingham, so I was in there, straight out of the car, straight onto a treadmill, an hour, straight off there, shower, into a meeting, knee pain. And basically, it's because of lack of stretching and rushing and not enough recovery. And I said to Duncan, who went with the injury, I said, it's my own fault. I got out of the car, I said, I should have moved the run to the evening. He went, oh, just don't do it. Yeah, just don't do it. You know, sometimes you've just got to accept that that run's not happening that day.
It's so
and
hard.
I just thought,
It's
so obvious.
So hard.
You know, on reflection, that would have been the better thing to do. But
missing one run, I ended up missing 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose that ties into the discipline of saying no to a run as well when you are at that point. But it's hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I was so annoyed with myself. I did the same as what I did earlier in the year.
Yeah. It is so easily done, especially when you are fit. It's easy to go, I could just do a quick park run and then I could do a 20-miler. Of course, you know, that doesn't seem that far out of the realms of reality. But actually, it's so much stress on my body because I've very, very rarely run a fast 5K. So to put that stress on my body... So parkrun actually is one of the things that does get neglected quite a lot during a marathon block because it doesn't really ever fit in with my Sunday run unless I do it as part of an easier, longer run, which I'm happy to do.
I mean, sometimes you get away with things you shouldn't get away with, but that's dangerous then because it lulls you into a false sense of security and you think, I'm invincible, I can go and do this, I can go and do that. None of us are invincible.
No.
Everyone's got breaking points.
Yeah.
Especially as we get older as well, your body becomes more vulnerable and
you're so much more aware of it. But then again, to improve, you do have to take some risks, as in you do have to push the line of training versus overtraining, which is exactly where I'm at today. Having just done my longest run yesterday, I'm like, oh, did I do too much? Have I pushed that interval pace just a bit too fast? It didn't really need to be. You know, the little things, you're always going to question yourself anyway after every single run of that distance anyway. It's mind games, isn't it, always? But it's very difficult to be very disciplined. And I hear from novice runners especially, they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, oh, getting out and running is the easy part. That's not the hard part for me. It's absolutely everything else. It's the sleep, it's the running, it's being disciplined in all of those things. Like, stop doom scrolling, go to bed half an hour earlier because that's going to make the run tomorrow so much easier. But that requires discipline as well. And when you're tired, which you always are when you're marathon training, doom scrolling is just easy to do.
That's my questions, Dave. Over to you.
Right, we're going to continue this discussion about discipline.
Okay.
I want to ask you about strength and conditioning. So, do you incorporate any dedicated strength and conditioning sessions into your routine? And if so, what kind of exercises are you prioritising?
Yeah, really good question, and definitely something that I've really changed. So I thank Pete a lot for changing my mindset about that. My strength work is mostly done at home, so it is limited, especially how heavy I can go, because I only have a certain set of dumbbells and kettlebells and weights and things. However, Pete and I have worked quite closely together. A lot of the work that I've done now is either isometric or plyometric. And I hate the isos, and I quite like the plyos, but again, you've got to be disciplined with doing the isometric stuff. So isometric work never really featured before this year, and I think it's been slightly rehabilitative. So every time I say, I've got this niggle, bless Pete will go, have you tried this? Hold this position for 30 seconds, and gets me doing lots of balance work and things. So yes, strength work does feature. I don't progress in it. I don't set myself any goals with it. I am not attached to any numbers with it. I try to be not obsessive about it, because I am quite obsessive about all the running and the numbers and everything there. Whereas I think I accept that my strength work just has to complement my running, because I've been in a marathon block for what feels like 5 years now.
How much time a week would you say you're spending on it?
Depends what you call strength work, because I count my yoga work as strength, because it is body weight, and I do yoga
strength and conditioning, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you're counting yoga, then it's a lot, probably 6 hours a week. But if you're counting just pure standing with weights, hardly anything. 40 minutes a week, 2 20-minute sessions maybe.
And since you started doing these routines, what sort of differences have you seen in your running?
This year?
Since you started doing it?
I guess, touch wood, I really don't want to say the sentence, but I've remained injury-free this year. Yeah. I had one spell where I couldn't really do, one short spell where I couldn't really do much speed work, but I was still able to run easy. So this year's been good in that respect, injury-free. And I've seen improvements in all my times, apart from the marathon.
We've got Valencia coming up.
Give me some more wood.
So you just mentioned about your yoga, which you incorporate into your routine. So as a hypermobile runner, how does focusing on strength, mobility and recovery actively contribute to your marathon success and help manage your joints?
You're asking this the day after a 24-mile run when my joints are not very happy today. So I have Raynaud's, which I've mentioned, and I am hypermobile. So any circulation, anything that gets my circulation will always pay me back. And so I figured if I can, I can't stand still either. I am not very good at standing still, which is why my job sees me walking around quite a lot of the time as well. But I think being hypermobile means that yoga comes a bit more easily to me. The problem is, in order to be able to hold the poses, you need the strength and you need the balance. And all those things pay your running back. If you've got good balance and you can do lots of good single leg work, that's really good for your running. So I think one way or another, they all come together. I'm not really sure if I've answered that question properly, have I?
You've answered it well. We've also touched on sleep. So you said that your biggest weakness is still sleep and fueling, particularly struggling with carb loading and feeling sick easily. So what steps are you currently taking to try and conquer the fueling side, knowing it's key to your next breakthrough?
I've had races this year where I've nailed my fueling, and so I know how important it is. I know what a difference it can make. I think there's a bit of a mental block with it, because I do find myself feeling sick quite easily. There is a bit of a resistance there, and I know what it's going to feel like. I know I'm going to feel sluggish. I know I've got to eat, for me, quite unhealthily, a few weeks out. I mean, I really will start carb loading from about now, as in I will just gradually start to have some juice that I wouldn't normally have every day, or a few more biscuits every day, which I never say no to anyway, but it has to be really incremental for me. And even though I'm 3 weeks out from Valencia, if I want to be able to really carb load 3 days out, the hard work has to start here, and it has to be incremental, because I know I'll get to the Saturday before Valencia and I won't want anything to eat. My nerves will just overcome me, and that's not going to pay me well at all. But if I've had 3 weeks of going into it, and the few days before it, if the Saturday's not ideal, then hopefully I can still run a good race. That's the pattern of my marathons to date anyway.
When most people say they feel sick off fueling, they normally refer to gels. Do you have a problem with gels?
I can actually tolerate gels. I do like my sugar, so I have no problem tolerating sugar.
And what's your strategy with gels during a marathon? How many would you take and how often?
This has been new this year, so I never used to be the person that would count anything. I still don't count calories or anything like that.
Took things when you needed them.
But I count, this year I've started to count my carbs, and so I've realised that 60 grams an hour is a nice little sweet spot for me in training. I can push it to about 80 to 90 in a race, which is quite a lot for my weight.
Is that from your own research, or is this input you've had from Holly?
Holly has encouraged me to take on more, and I've just tried to do it. So where I'd have 2 gels an hour, 2 lower carb gels, I've upped that now to the higher carb gels. Yeah. So I've basically spent my entire mortgage on Morton.
It's cheap sport.
Oh no! Each training run cost me about £20 at the moment.
Have you tried magnesium for your sleep?
Oh yes, I have, and it does help.
It does make a difference, because we take it on it. To me, genuinely, if I go away and I don't take it with me, my sleep's horrendous. It makes a real difference.
Yeah, for me it's my temperature. I get really, really hot in bed. But I'm a naturally really, really cold person. Yeah, so it's really hard, isn't it? It's so hard to get it right.
So just staying on that theme of your fueling and your conditioning, as a naturally hypermobile and overcautious runner, how do these traits play into your injury management? And do you feel that caution has genuinely been a saving grace throughout your marathon years?
I do think I'm overcautious. The slightest niggle I pay attention to, and I might not stop running, but I will not speed work on the head, or I'll take an extra rest day. And I think if you don't do that, that's a sure, quick fire way to an injury. That's not to say that you won't get injured. You have to accept in sport that you will get injured. You can have a coach, you can do all of the right things, and you can still get injured. That is part and parcel of it. However, you can manage that, and you can lessen the effects of it. And I do think that there is a way to be in a marathon block and not get injured, hopefully.
You'll have to share that with us.
Okay, so let's now discuss your mantra, which is train mindfully, race recklessly. A great mantra, that. What does racing recklessly mean for you in the context of a marathon?
I guess the training mindfully part is that, isn't it? It's just listening to your body. It is accepting that you're going to pick up niggles, but it's knowing, can I push this, or do I need a rest day? And it's just accepting that sometimes a rest day and just saying no is the best way forward. I'm not always the best at it. I've certainly picked up enough little niggles this year. The racing recklessly thing, I'm 9 marathons in. I would love for London 2026 to be my 10th. I also realise at my age I am pushing it in terms of having so many marathons uninjured. I do feel like it's only a matter of time, and I know that sounds a bit negative, but it happens to us all one way or another for one reason or another. I'd like to hope that I've got more marathons in me. How many more marathons I've got in me PBing? I don't know. My days are I'm surely limited. I will peak. So if you're going to train for it for 3 months and you get one shot at it, go and have a shot at it. Do your best. Like, put all of your effort into it. And that doesn't mean set off at 5k pace and have a terrible race and bonk and all of those things that can happen. It's just go into it 100%. And I guess I don't really mean recklessly, but I race every race as if it's my last. I think to myself, I am so privileged to have got to this point again. How lucky am I that I've reached this point again, like 9 times over? And that is just, running with gratitude is the nicest feeling in the world. And if you're having a bad mile and you can swing it back round to say, but you're here, come on, keep going. And I won't hold back on that. I will go for it. And if I think I've got a time in me, I will absolutely go for that time.
Yeah, that's a great attitude, that.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we understand that you were scheduled to race the Abingdon Marathon in the Masters race, but your plans pivoted towards Valencia. So what was the reason behind this change, and what led you to the decision?
How honest shall I be? I wasn't excited about Abingdon. It did feel a bit close to Boston. Boston really broke me. That was the toughest marathon I've had in terms of recovery. It took me a very long time to recover from Boston, from the downhills more than the uphills, I will add. Abingdon, I liked the idea of running in an England vest, but that was about it. There was nothing else that excited me about that race. And I thought it's still going to be quite an expensive weekend, really, and I wasn't sure how much it would pay me back. I didn't like that it was not closed road. I didn't like that I couldn't wear headphones. There was just lots of little things that just kept adding up. And ultimately I thought, if I'm investing this much time and money and effort and energy into something, I need to be really excited about it. And I want to come away from it knowing I put my all into it. And I had started my Abingdon training and I wasn't in. I wasn't bought into it. I didn't really start my sessions with the mentality of I want a PB, I want this race. Whereas the minute Valencia was on the cards, I was involved. I was straight, yes, I'm excited about this. I want to get up my own mileage. I want to do my sessions well. And it was just a much more exciting race.
Abingdon, Valencia.
Exactly!
Let me think that through.
A couple of people actually said to me, it's a no-brainer. And I was like, it is absolutely a no-brainer.
I've never ran Valencia, but having seen the footage of it, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, I can totally understand that decision. You just mentioned then about headphones. I've just scrolled through the remaining questions and there's nothing about it. So do you normally race with music?
I do.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even a marathon.
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm quite happy running solo.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of my sessions on my own. I do a lot of my marathon training on my own. And I guess I get used to it. I do zone out from it though. I could have a podcast on or a playlist on and I couldn't tell you what I've heard or what I've listened to. I think it's a comfort blanket more than anything else at this stage. Yeah. And I know in Boston and in London I've had it where I've only had one of the headphones on, so you can still hear the crowd. But I also quite like zoning out from it. And as much as I love a major for the crowd atmosphere, I will be honest, it does my head in after a while. The noise, it's too much. I think I get just a bit of a sensory overload, and that's probably adrenaline being caffeinated up to my eyeballs from all the gels, all the sugar. It's just an accumulation. But you get to mile 23 and you just think, I just
We've had other guests say that,
Yeah.
they find the noise and the volume of runners and people just too much.
Yeah.
In London, like the tunnel where you go in the tunnel, and it's just like, and you do find a lot of people as you go in the tunnels just like stand back a bit, don't they?
Yeah. And it's quite difficult to take it all in.
Yeah.
The one bit of London Marathon I love is the embankment. I mean, it's long, isn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like the longest couple of mile and a bit anyway. But if you can like take all of that in and just look around you, it's incredible, it's amazing. But when you've got somebody constantly shouting your wrong name, because nobody can pronounce my name for a start, it just gets annoying after a while. But if you can block that out a little bit, then I think music can do that for me. Yeah. But yeah, I know it's quite an unpopular opinion. Not a lot of people do race with music on.
You have to carry your phone and everything then,
yeah.
Don't you? Because that annoys me, like anything touching me. So the fact that like I've got my gels and that annoys me. So having my phone, but I think I never race with my phone.
I think you have to have the right shorts, that's for sure. I've tried so many pairs of shorts where my phone doesn't sit and it's annoying me. But I am a bit like that. I don't like running in a vest. I don't like hydration vest or anything like that.
Some of the Garmin music watches you can download playlists you watch,
Yes.
and then you don't need to run with your phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So that's an option. I know you can actually get headphones where you can download music to the actual headphones
really?
themselves.
Oh yeah,
Some of
the
the shops
bone conducting
headphones,
ones maybe. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So there are options that mean you
Yes.
don't have to carry your phone with you.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Yes.
cassette player?
Walkman, yeah. Oh, the good days.
Or what'll sort of going warp as you're running?
Mini disc.
Battery's falling out.
Oh dear me. Right, what are the key differences you've experienced training for Boston with a coach compared to your previous self-coached marathon build-ups?
I love that Holly has really reinforced the importance of lactate threshold runs, and I think that was something that was missing. I think I did it to a certain extent, but didn't really know what I was doing with it.
Were you doing it by accident, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And realising that doesn't have to be... I don't really do... we talked a little bit about this before, didn't we? The difference between tempo and threshold and steady. Like, I don't really ever do like 7 miles very, very, very fast, for example. I would always do interval work. But I've realised that now that I can increase my lactate threshold. So this is my new current obsession, like trying to do longer in my lactate threshold. So instead of increasing my miles, which was my obsession back then, it's now increasing the time that I can stay within my lactate threshold. And I guess with Holly, I had said to her, I was really honest at the start of the year and said, I am not a good hill runner. I've just entered a hilly marathon. I'd really like to do it around sub 3. She probably thought, what on earth? But accepted the challenge. And so, yeah, just really understanding how I could train for hills without burning out, because my weak point is my hips, and obviously hills up and down are not very kind on your hips or your hip flexors or your quads. So I had to find a way of balancing that stress over stress, stressing my body just enough that I was conditioned to running the hills, but not overstressing that I wouldn't be able to run the race that I'd spent thousands of pounds on.
Sean, you've done something quite similar this year with your lactate threshold training, haven't you?
Yeah.
Less of a
so
focus on mileage and
pretty much entirely threshold training
Okay.
based. Yeah. So being coached by Dan Nash, who's a sports physiologist.
Okay.
So his whole thing is how much time you're spending in threshold throughout the course of the week, and everything's time based.
Yep.
And heart rate based. There's no
hard,
mileage
isn't it?
in there whatsoever, which is mental.
Yeah, it's the same.
But it's just getting used to it. But we'll see, what are we now? 2.5 weeks.
How have you found it? I mean, in terms of difficulty.
Difficulty is not too bad. I feel like I'm coping with the training okay, actually. Because I'm not doing any VO2 max stuff, so that's what was breaking me.
I've found lactate threshold training harder than VO2 stuff, so I'm not running my fastest, but I think it's not having the breaks. I think I relied on the breaks more.
Yeah.
So where the breaks are much shorter now, that's where I'm like, oh wow, well, my heart rate's not coming down that quickly. I'm not recovering, and then I've got to go back into this really quick pace, really quickly.
The breaks are short, aren't they?
Very short.
Very short. Not even worth having sometimes.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just disrupts you. Yeah.
I do nearly all of my lactate stuff on a treadmill, though. I will be really honest.
Yeah, I've done a little bit on the treadmill, but mainly on an industrial estate, as is traditional these days. So, and I even find, like, sometimes on paper you look at it and think, oh, what, like, I don't know, 10 times 3 minutes. What's 3 minutes? But it's brutal because the recoveries are so short. You're actually not coming out of your threshold even in your recovery, and then you go in again.
Yeah.
So it's just an accumulative session, really. So you got to be very careful. I don't know about you, but I was overcooking my first few.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holly didn't shy away from telling me I was being an idiot, which I totally appreciated, because what started off as something that I looked on paper and thought, I can do that.
Please.
That's fine. And now I'm
Does
like,
she know who I am?
I've got another 10 seconds per mile in me, and then you're like, oh no, I really haven't, I'm really sorry, I take it all back. But yeah, now when I see the sessions, if I'd have seen that 6 months ago, I would have thought, there's no way I can do that, no way.
Yeah.
But now I look at it and I think, wow, that's a tough session, that's going to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Well, let's say at least mine now are like that, whereas they were like a step just going down and down.
Getting slower.
Yeah, just like, so I've managed to learn how to do the sessions. I think
that's
it,
good.
Yeah.
I think that's why I really like doing them on a treadmill though, because it is steady, as in, I don't like the word steady, but you can really monitor that exact second and minute per mile.
Yeah, some of the best runners in the world do their sessions on the treadmill for that reason, don't they? See that?
Yeah, I think I struggle to get my heart rate up when I'm outside anyway, so I think the treadmill has really helped push me in that respect.
Yeah.
Have you had to do lactate threshold testing stuff for?
No, I haven't actually.
No.
I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. But I do think that if you're going to do it, you need to be quite regular with it. So doing it once is probably not going to pay me back. But if I did it, is it 3 times that they say within a marathon block? I think there's an ideal if you can work out.
I've used my lab report for this block that was done in January 24. So I was told that your actual threshold doesn't change. So like, for example, my top of my threshold is 167.
Okay.
So I don't want to be going above that. But the pace I can run that effort at will change over time.
So you can stay in that for longer.
Yeah, and you get less
that's
heart rate
interesting.
drift. So if you look at your sessions and you can see the almost like the camelbacks on your heart rate data. So you'll get less drift in that they'll all be the same size rather than getting bigger and bigger and bigger the fitter you get. So there's indications of fitness which will always change.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
you can get that from doing more lab testing, but just monitoring the data.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got that baseline, I remember that Owen said that to us as well, didn't he? He said once you've, it was another physiologist we had on the podcast, and so once you've got your threshold test done, you can, if you stay on top of that, you can track your progression against it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
There's a difference between lactate and VO2 though, isn't there? And I don't always know. I know what the sessions look like for both, but I'm not sure I know my own lactate threshold or my own VO2 max, because your watch is always going to be a million miles off.
Way off, I find.
Way
off. I didn't do VO2 max because obviously I'm not looking at that anyway. I'm looking at the marathon, so I just did the threshold.
Yeah.
VO2 max looks really painful as well. I've seen people doing it on YouTube. I thought it's not for me. That.
It is.
I'll just accept that I can run 16:10 and go with that. That's my VO2 max.
I really want to do, I really want to do, I don't really want to do it. I'd be interested to see what I genuinely could run 60 minutes at now, because I've got no idea. I can run, my 10-mile PB is in a half marathon. I've got no idea what my 10-mile PB is, and my 10 mile would be close to my 6 minutes, which would be close to my lactate threshold. That's the link there. Yeah. But it would be interesting to actually see.
I think it's fascinating because when you look at elite athletes running like the half marathon, these guys running the hour, they're able to run that at that maximum threshold because they're only there for an hour, whereas we can't afford to do that because the consequences will be massive. But that's why elites are elites, because they are pretty much balls to the wall in a half marathon.
Yeah,
racing recklessly.
Yeah,
exactly.
but it's because they're so fast, because they're not having to stay at that intensity as long as we are.
Yeah,
us mere mortals,
Callum,
Anyway,
I think you've got some questions.
Digressed a bit there, Callum. Pick that schedule back up.
We've got an agenda.
So we spoke quite a lot about your next goal being Valencia, but you've mentioned that the goalposts keep moving. So what's the ideal outcome that looks like for you at Valencia, and what's your mindset regarding that shifting target?
I am not going to lie, I do want a PB. It would be the only distance that I haven't PB'd at this year, and so and for that reason it feels like it would be a shame, given that my race season, particularly autumn, has been strong. So I would like to see that, but I also know that the marathon is a different beast, and that you need so many stars. I've said that phrase a few times now, but you do need stars to align. And my fear for Valencia is that it could be hot, and we've actually had quite a mild winter, but we won't have had any heat training going into it. So even 15 or 16 degrees could feel quite warm when you're, well, for me, 2.5-3 hours in.
Yeah.
My goalposts are time oriented still at the moment. That's me being completely honest, but that isn't my sole enjoyment from a marathon. I would like to get round without any mental wobbles, because I had a bit of a mental wobble in Boston at 24, and that was the first time that had happened to me, which I know is really fortunate to have done 8 marathons and not really have ever felt like I've hit a wall. I kind of didn't really believe it was a thing before that. I thought you can out-fuel that. People that say that there's a wall is because they haven't fueled well, and I realised that that is not always the case. And at 24 miles in Boston, I really didn't think I was going to finish, which was scary and not nice. So I would like for the race to not have that moment. Yeah. I'm okay with not hitting paces. I'm okay with not feeling great, but I don't really want to feel that depleted where I think I'm going to hit the deck. So yeah, apart from time oriented, an outcome goal would be to really be able to enjoy it from start to finish.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
What's your PB, sorry, at the minute?
2:57.
Yeah, smash that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looking at that session you did yesterday, I think you've got to be pleased with that. I know you're in a bit of agony today, but that's just normal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm looking at my half time and thinking, no, that would suggest quicker than that. But
and you flew. I remember at Manchester Half, you flew past me. I think it was on Seymour Street.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because you and Alia were really close
together.
You were really close together, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you were close together at
we pretty much
Knutsford
ran
as
the
well.
whole Knutsford together.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. And she's doing Valencia too.
Yeah.
We've had our
Nice,
entire
yeah.
race season
Same
together,
race
which
as
has been
well.
lovely. It's been really lovely
Yeah,
though,
it's
because
nice
we are
when you
so
get some-
similar.
yeah.
Similar in mindset, similar in the way that we train. We've
Yeah.
both got young kids. You
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of similarities. But actually, to be able to have somebody that's going through it all at the same time, and I know what she wants from Valencia. She will know what I want from Valencia, and I'm sure that we have intentions of being close together in Valencia as well, which would be lovely.
I've not seen your session from yesterday, but I saw Alia did a
She was rapid.
session.
Yeah.
I thought, wow.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. On fire as well.
So you've realised that running's provided you with something more than you could have imagined, proving that you can do things that you once deemed impossible, which you mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
So how's that confidence translated into any non-running goals in your life?
Massively. I came out of academia when I had the kids, and I just thought I would never get back into it. But after the 5K, sub 25K, that's really when I thought, I can change this. I can change my outlook. If I put a bit of effort into it, I can be an academic again. It just felt so far out of my reach once upon a time, but then so did a sub 25K. So if I can transfer that willingness and accept that I might fail somewhere along the way, but also know that there's a phrase, effort that can lead to mastery. And I don't want to be the best 5K runner, and I don't want to be the best academic, but I knew that I could put a bit of effort in and I could get better. So it's transferred into my job, in that I've set myself a goal, like I would with a marathon, a time goal or a mile goal, whatever that might be. And last year and this year, I've set myself some work goals, some professional development, and made sure that I've, if I can do that in a marathon, why can't I do it everywhere else, and just transfer that across.
So beyond the PBs, what impact do you hope your running journey has on other people, especially mothers that feel they put the fitness goals aside? We've had previous guests that have said that so many times. What is it, the impact that you'd like to see?
I don't even think it's necessarily being a mother, although that definitely will contribute to how hard it is. But there is a bit of a narrative around being 40 and how, that's it for your running. I don't know if that's the same for men, actually, but it's certainly the case for women, isn't it?
I'm not 40 yet, so you can't.
Inglorious.
Yeah.
Not long.
I just hope that people can see that I do work full time, that I do have 2 kids, and that I do have my own passion, and I can find time for that. And it does mean finding time. It's not, everybody has the same 24 hours. I've got other things going on as well with my grandparents and whatnot. But if you know that there's one thing that can pay you back mentally and physically, you absolutely have to prioritise that. It has to be a non-negotiable. You can't expect it to happen. And then it can, what can be something that you set out to do for your mind can then become, oh, actually, now I'm really interested, I'm quite driven by this performance, and I've realised that being able to perform better in my running means I can perform better in other elements. And I would like to hope that anybody at any age, but particularly full-time working mums aged 40 and above, can see, well, if she can do it, I can do it, because anybody can do it. You don't have to be an amazing runner to do it.
I think it's accepting that that's okay as well, isn't it? Because I think, like I say, as a mum, and when you're working full time, it's, you've been to work and coming home, you feel like you should just get into mum role.
You do.
So
it's really hard.
Yeah.
It is absolutely hard, and the main thing that you have to take to strip back is that guilt.
Yeah.
You have to stop feeling guilty about it, because it will pay you back. I'm a better mum when I've been for a run, so why wouldn't I go for a run? It's half an hour or an hour out of my day. There's still plenty of other hours that I can do the other things.
Absolutely, yeah.
So finally, what's one piece of advice you'd give to another runner who's struggling with their mental health and thinking about starting their own running journey but hasn't taken them first steps just yet?
I would say employ a growth mindset. I think that you need to accept that it won't be easy every day, that you need to be disciplined, and that it's okay to have a bad day. You just have to keep going back to it, and you have to plan it in. You have to make your non-negotiables about yourself as well as everybody else. And if that means spending 15 minutes on a Sunday looking at the kids' diaries, looking at your diary, looking at your work meetings, looking where you're working that week, it's worth it. It is worth just sitting and planning, so that you can get that run in, or that, for me, it's I have to plan my strength and conditioning, otherwise it might not get done. But it's absolutely worth it, because it makes you a better person. Holistically, it pays you back in so many ways. And it doesn't have to be running. I know this is a running podcast, but it could be anything. Just go and try something. Go and be brave. Go and step outside your comfort zone, and just push yourself just enough to go, I did that, and that's what will pay you back overall.
I think it's committing, isn't it, as well, and realising that you do, if it's something you want to do, you do have a time as well. Because again, so many people say to me, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
But, well, no, I don't want to be out running at 5 o'clock in the morning either. But like you say, I know that it makes me a better person. And so I do these things, and I do think that sometimes we can come up with excuses, can't we? And
Yeah.
I think you have to invest and find that time and what works for you.
See, I do want to be out running in the morning.
Well, you're weird.
Yeah. I love running. I just don't struggle with motivation.
No, but I think once it becomes more than, it becomes a hobby, doesn't it, and something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But I think when a lot of people haven't ran before, and they can look at us and think, like I say, people will often say, I don't know how you do it. Mm-hmm. But
unless it's raining, obviously, I don't like the rain.
Yeah.
No, I'm a fair weather runner as well. I just think it's so important to find your thing, find your community. If you're lucky enough to find something that challenges you mentally and physically and gives you a sense of belonging to something, you're the luckiest person in the world.
100%. So let's get on to the quick fire questions.
Uh-oh.
So, road, trail or track?
Oh, definitely not trail. Road?
Morning or evening workouts?
Ooh. Morning. Am I supposed to be answering these quick? Morning, but mid-morning ideally, not first thing in the morning.
Long intervals or tempo runs?
Long intervals.
Hill sprints or flat sprints?
Flats.
Definitely.
All day. That's not even a question for me.
Recovery runs or rest days?
Ooh, that's really hard. Rest days.
Heart rate zone training or pace-based training?
Heart rate.
Cross training or focus solely on running?
Cross training.
Competitive mindset or fun and enjoyment?
Competitive mindset.
I thought you were going to lie on that.
No point asking music or no music, which used to be taken out now.
But that's all our questions. Thank you very much for coming on. Best of
Thank
luck
you.
at Valencia. Well, let's hope all the stars align.
Thank you so much for having
you.
me. It's been really lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. No doubt I'll see you in Valencia.
Valencia.
Yeah.
I hope we
Good
do.
luck. Can't wait to see
Thanks.
what you do.
Everyone in Tameside will be there, won't they?
That's it for this episode. In our next episode, it's going to be our Christmas episode, where we review the year and celebrate everything that local runners have achieved. Please join us on Thursday the 18th of December at the Fairfield Arms for drinks and a live recording. Make sure you continue to support us and come to the Christmas recording. And remember, your greatest breakthrough in running won't be on the clock, but in the mental strength you find when the path gets hardest.